At She Can, women lead by example. We interview women from all walks of life and all over the world to hear their stories, how they got to where they are today, because it's easier to be what you can see. And I'm very excited to talk to Mahboobeh Rajabi today. Mahboobeh, welcome to She Can. You're an award-winning creative entrepreneur, artist, cultural leader, and creative producer from Manchester in the UK. Your mission is to give a platform to untold stories and give voices to the unheard voices through the language of art. And so you do that through digital art, theater, productions, films, or through your writing. You are also a creative and social entrepreneur that is building creative businesses led and owned by the communities that you're trying to make a difference in. You're interested in creating successful models of sustainable businesses whose profit go directly back to the people who are leading that work. You are also the founder of DIPACT, which is been chosen as one of the 12 global solutions for the refugee crisis with your business model. And you've been passionate and are still very passionately leading in the human rights, women rights, and diversity space. Mahboobeh, tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got to where you are today.
First, thank you so much for having me and your time. So I'm originally from Iran, and I think where I am now is definitely because of my life story of basically made me to become who I am today. I left Iran when I just turned 21, and I had to come to the UK as an asylum seeker. And I was an asylum seeker for nearly 6 years. And it was like golden days of my youth, but unfortunately, you cannot work. You're in a limbo, and it actually made me to kind of really involve myself in so many projects. I've been volunteering all those years, and I've met incredible creative artists. And because I've also studied directing theater back home, so I was really wanted to continue theater. And I've managed to kind of say yes to any project. I did a digital course, and it made me to become a digital artist. And all those years made me basically seeing so many incredible artists and creatives who also come through asylum process. And when I've got my status back in 2015, the biggest thing I had in my head was I had a lot of privilege, and the first one was speaking English. So I've learned English when I was basically in kindergarten, and that was like the massive, big step for me to be a bit more successful when other artists actually come to the UK, and some of them even are well known in their hometown countries. I know artists who published books who win awards, but actually if they go to asylum process, or if you've kind of like became a migrant, it's a bit more difficult for you to really be recognized with your experience. So as soon as I've got my status, I was thinking about all those incredible artists I work with. And also the fact that in Manchester we are very multicultural, and being from people being from with global background was an actual passion for me to do something. So I've done a lot of work as an artist, different creative projects, exhibitions, performance, but I had in my mind that how I can help those artists to be seen, because I've managed to get some work. DIPACT started basically as a group of artists to kind of showcasing their practices, and we work in a co-creation methodology to see how artists can express themselves. And we did some projects, but again, the biggest problem was money. And I keep thinking about like how we can help ourselves to get more sustainable in our income streams. So, and then I became a mom between 2018 and 2019. So, and then it actually gave me more passion, because then I've got a child, and I was thinking about the young people and the future of what we build today, they're going to benefit from in the future. So back in 2021, I thought about like it was money was all in my head. Like how can I make sure that our creatives, the groups that we work with, can basically earn money. So we're thinking about, okay, we need to be a business model. And my partner is a chef, and he works as a lead chef in National Trust. But he also used to be an artist as well. But when he came to the UK, he couldn't pursue his career. So we've had a conversation, and we thought, okay, what if we kind of create a cafe and a platform that actually kind of create money, but actually make it a community interest company that all the profit would go back as a social enterprise as well. And I took a course with in place of war that was specifically to help us to become creative entrepreneurs. And this was where my journey started as a creative entrepreneur. So I built up my business, and then I joined the Turn in London, the refugee network. And then we managed to become a CIC. We did pop-ups. We even collaborated with the cafe, and we've been chosen as a global solution with our business model. So yeah, so for us was basically now really creating a model of business that would showcase that we listen to the artists, and artists really need a space and also income streams. And also in DIPACT is you receive a very unique experience. So we thought, how can we actually kind of connect food and art? And artists are the best leaders in the world to decide that, to create with something that would be very unique. So artists would come up with creative menus that would connect the art with the food. And it's very simple. If you get a drink, the drink would come with the artwork, with the artist of the day. You can get, just a global food from around the world based on the artist that is on the day. So it's kind of all these sort of unique experiences that when you're having your food, you can receive, just with a cafe that led by artists.
Mahboubeh, it sounds amazing. Tell us a little bit more about the stories that you're passionate about, that you want to tell, you have told, you're about to tell. What are the stories, the untold stories, and the voices that you think need to be amplified? And then we'll go a tiny bit more into the social and creative entrepreneur that you are.
So I think one of the stories that really stayed with me are from back it was in November 2016 and November 2017, because it was the year before also I get pregnant with my son. And we were a bunch of visual artists women, and most of us were from refugee background, but each of the women were coming from an incredible background. And in that meeting, it was a creative meeting. It was a few of one of the, just women who were British, who were born here. And I remember one of them were talking just about like refugee stories. And I remember she was like really on like talking about the struggles that refugees was going through. And suddenly when she went to ask the women to introduce themselves, she was blown away, because we had PhDs, we've had lecturers, we've had like filmmakers, we've had award-winning women in the room, we've had like women who published many books. And she was completely blown away by actually she has started to talk about like struggles. And it was so incredible that she also mentioned that in the group, that how she felt like I'm just talking about something negative, but there's so much positivity in this room. Incredible women with incredible experience, professional women that unfortunately usually when they came to those rooms, instead of being seen of who truly they are, only we talk about a chapter of their life. And I keep talking about the fact that being a refugee or being a migrant or whatever happened in your life is a chapter of your life. It doesn't make who you are. And you have so many skills and talent, and unfortunately by become categorized or boxed, the people don't have the space to show who they actually are. And it was like a confirmation and evidence for me with the fact that we have to make sure that we focus on humans as they are rather than a chapter of their lives.
Yeah, categorizing them as something,
Yes.
such as a refugee or an immigrant. And I love what you said, Mahboubeh, because I always think it's a known fact in trauma work that once people feel heard and seen, they can start to heal. And you're building spaces where people are heard and seen. And I think that's the most important message here. Tell us a little bit more about DIPACT and the other visions that you have where you want to make a difference.
So I think DIPACT, because it started really organically as a collective, and on that time, I didn't know what I want to do. I just knew that as artists, as underrepresented artists, which unfortunately what they call, just within the sector, we have to get together and we have to sort of like really understand how we showcase our practices. And that's how DIPACT is proud to always be led by artists when it comes to creative projects. I'm also one of the artists, and it's always about make sure that they have the voice. And I think that organic start had a massive impact on who we are today. And also the where the artists found that this is a space for them kind of to be in charge, have their own agency. And I use the word leaders because they lead on their practice and they should be leading on their practice. And so by DIPACT coming this far, we've kind of had a lot of confirmation of how we are successful in our business model, even with pop-ups, and that help us to be hopeful for our fundraising as well, to kind of being, because we've been mainly running on voluntary work. We've received very small grants that have been given to us. We've always been sort of like running into to make sure which stage we want to be. And now, especially the past 2 years, we've had a confirmation of with the evidence of the work that we did. And also now we're looking at basically launching a digital platform as well. So if because we're working on getting our own space instead of pop-ups now. And also, when you come to DPAC, you can scan the QR code on the tables that would kind of transfer you to the information about the creatives. And we're also building a new initiative that would connect artists to opportunities as well, because one of the massive problems at the moment for artists who are underrepresented who work with communities is they don't get enough like paid opportunities, or paid opportunities are not like represented in a way that they feel confident to apply for it as well. So we want to really bridge that gap, and we've launched our platform which is called DigiGem, which we're really proud of it, and because that's going to be completely digital, and it's going to also have digital and technology trainings as well, because through our works and programs, one of the needs that the artists keep talking about was the training they need, and they need to be like up to speed with all the sort of like digital skills as well to be presented on social media, and the work they're doing, just with how fast the world is going with that sort of aspect of digital and tech. So we're working on that as well, which is quite exciting at the moment. And it's actually so if you look at like different job platforms like LinkedIn, Total Jobs, Indeed, artists cannot find jobs in there. Like for creatives and artists, we're not presented there. So it's actually creating a similar platform that would work for artists, especially artists who work with communities, especially artists who have social change, just passion in their work. So how they can be seen as well. So, and as a creative entrepreneur, I think also being an artist, I'm now really excited to establish these new initiatives that would really work for creatives and artists.
Mahboobeh, I love this whole concept. I'm wondering what you think are your biggest lessons since being an artist and being a creative and social entrepreneur and having learned so much over the last years.
For me is basically being more with artists like myself. I think being isolated as an artist is not going to do a good thing for a creative. You have to be out there, you have to do networking, you have to really go to different programs. I think what really helped me is since I've started to go to different programs, projects, networking, it helped me more in order to be seen, to work, to collaborate with other artists. We would be better when we're working in a team. So I would always also tell other artists to really be out there, because you can just be in your studio, you can just work on your projects, but it's really important for you to be seen, to be heard, and to be out there. And also the trust that we build. I think I'm always grateful, massively grateful for the trust that I've built with artists and the communities that I work with. And when you build that trust, you know that you just don't want to give it away in any cost. You just want to make sure that you are in a path that you've got that trust, so you work what this trust valued as well. So that was like the biggest lessons that I've learned as well.
Mahboobeh, so what tips would you have to young people, maybe anybody, but especially artists who come to live in the UK from different parts of the world because they simply can't be where they were from.
Yeah. So, as part of my work, I've also did some mentorship with young people, and always one of the things I tell them is, it can be quite overwhelming when you are in the sector and you want to really create work or like to be seen. The first thing I tell them is to make sure first, if you're in a local area, you navigate your local area and community center. For example, if you've got a community center that got art projects, be there, let them know you, go and give them about yourself, go and be with with the groups, and also build relationships with them. Because one of the things I think the young people need to really understand is that when you let yourself to be out there, when you introduce yourself, you need experience. And one of the biggest lessons I always learn, and I always transfer it into my session to young people, is that you only learn when you do the work. So don't be scared of leading a session or go to different like organization, community center, institution, because you would really learn and get that experience until you do the work. For example, leading a small workshop or assisting on those workshops, because it would help you to really understand the participants. I give you an example, like when the people come to different groups, the people might have different backgrounds, and you might realize, you know what, I need to do this training. Maybe this course would really help me. And then you start to build up a really good experience. And then when you start your own projects, then you will be also confident to go and apply for different fundings or grants that would really develop your practice as well.
Mm, I love that. So, Mahboobeh, what do you feel are your challenges? What are the things that are difficult for you in what you do? And how do you reframe them?
If I want to be honest, entering the business world was a huge challenge for me because
Mhm.
there is a massive difference from when you work in an arts and cultural sector and the community and the grant system, and then you want to come into business sector was a massive challenge, and it still is for me. I'm still learning about sales, about getting profit, about cash flow, about so many aspects around that is still I'm learning. And it's been a huge challenge to it for me. It was like from one sector I moved to completely different sector, so I'm learning. And sometimes, to be honest, I have to like, it's been days that I felt like, oh my goodness, like it's no progress. And you know, when you get hopeless, but the thing that really kept me going was kind of like, know that, you know, just with our years of working, the artists, the creative groups that I work with. So I think the huge challenge for me is now learning that element around business, making profit, because our goal is to create sustainable income from our business model that would really help the community to not be worried about the financial cost that they've got. I think this is my main challenge, and I'm really learning about fundraising as well.
I'm wondering, Mahboobeh, what you think, how we can all embrace more creative solutions. We need to find more creative solutions around all the challenges that we face as a society, globally, really. And I think we're often lacking. We're not really teaching creative solutions to our children. This way of looking at things from, high above and finding creative solutions to all the problems we face.
Yeah. I want to give you an example to answer that question. If you look at some of the people who made like really big changes in the world, they were the people who, for example, dropped out of university, or they've kind of like really stopped. Because what would happen is that when you are working in a structure, that became your comfort zone. So you really want to rely on that structure. You just want to rely on that policies or that sort of like structure that's being built. In order to come out of it, is this is where the creative solutions happen. For example, if there has been a policies for years, or there has been this method of working, maybe we should think outside the box. And usually people, especially if we are policymakers or decision makers, this is their comfort zone. So creative solutions happen is when we're thinking outside of the box. And I think and it was also the biggest challenge for me in DIPACT as well. I remember the few years of DIPACT, I've been in a meeting that I've directly been told that you don't know what you're talking about. I've been told that. deep inside of me, I knew that what I'm talking about, but it took years to kind of really prove that these solutions is working. And I think it's mainly to fight for thinking outside of the box and making those practices happen need to be consistent. We need to be consistent of bringing these solutions on the table and make sure that we think outside the box, because maybe sometimes structures doesn't work, maybe policies are too old. So in order to look at creative solutions is that, look, we have to put them aside and we have to think new. And I think it's a challenge for decision making or people at the top of the organization companies to make or transform, just their structure to something else. So I believe that, I'm one of the fighters. I always want to test something new. And I think we need to create a space that would explore those creative solutions. And that's one of the key methods to make sure that we're really looking at a creative solution. We want to put it in practice.
Yeah. And I think that can be done by teaching and learning cross subject, right? So you try and look at solutions from all kinds of different industries and areas. And I think it can be done by making teams more diverse. And the more diverse you are, the more chances you have at coming up with creative solutions, because you have so many people thinking in completely different ways while challenged by an issue, i.e., the solutions that can come out of that are potentially much more creative.
Yeah.
Mahboobeh, so what would you say are you most proud of to date?
I have to I have to say one of the first things I'm so proud of is DIPACT itself. I think we came a long way, and when I look back in 2016 when we first like get together up so far, like I look at it and I'm so proud of not giving up. I think
Mm.
that's the word that I can say, that I'm so happy I didn't give up, and I have to thank you to the people that on those times supported me, because I wouldn't be here without the people that supported me and make sure they've had my back too on those days that I was completely hopeless, to tell me that no, you can go on. So I'm not sitting here as my own. It was so many incredible people that supported me in my journey.
Yeah. Mahboobeh, so tell us a bit more about plans and goals for 2025. What's on the horizon for you?
Yeah. So in 2025, so we've got a location now for our space. So we're hoping to build our own cafe in 2025 towards 2026. So we've had the goal to actually basically do our fundraisings and make sure that this space is going to be open by 2026 for everyone. So we're very excited about that. And also we're going to launch our digital platform as well. So it's going to be two big things happening. And we're looking at also in between that kind of make sure that we continue our creative projects with artists as well. So it's always about working with artists and listen to them and watching them coming with incredible ideas and together, just to showcase them. So I really look forward to basically the 2025. That would be the time that we're really kind of meeting our goal to be really sustainable financially as well.
Mahboobeh, so tell us more about your own journey and how you got to where you are today.
So my journey started. I'm from Iran originally, and I came to the UK when I just turned 21, and I came here as an asylum seeker, and I was an asylum seeker for nearly 6 years. And through that time, the only thing I could do was basically doing voluntary works. And I was studying directing theater back in my country, and I was doing theater all my life. So I wanted basically to be connected to the art. So I did a lot of voluntary projects that made me connected and see so many incredible artists and creatives. And I was proud to be a part of amazing projects as well. So as soon as I've got my status in 2015, I was keep thinking about those incredible artists. I came to this country and I managed to be seen because first I can speak English. And it happened because I was start learning English when I was in kindergarten, and my dad pushed me kind of like to continue learning English. And it became a massive, huge step for me to get work and be seen. But I was witnessing some of the incredible artists who are actually well known in their countries. They've had like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years of experience, been award winners, published many books, but they've actually felt really isolated. So as soon as I got my status, I was keep thinking about those creatives. And I think with DIPACT started as a collective. It was me thinking, let's get together as creatives and basically look at how we can share our practices through co-creation methodology that I was interested in. And then this is how DIPACT kind of progressed as well. So for me, it was really important that we create a platform that would really support artists. And but the big questions came up for me that we need money. Nothing would work when you don't have, just the most important thing for all of us to have basically income streams. So we did incredible projects with even a small grants, but mainly we were running on voluntary works by the artists because they found a space, and it was incredibly great to collaborate together. So up until 2018, then I became a mom until 2019, and it gave me more passion to think about future and the young people and what we build today, they're going to benefit from in the future. So back in 2021, I had a conversation. I was basically talking to my partner, who is also a chef, who's worked as a lead chef in National Trust, but he was also an artist who came to this country. We are both Iranian, and he told me that, so you need sustainable money. Why don't we kind of rebuild a cafe? And I was like, yes, the cafe can run and led by artists. This is how the seed of the DIPACT idea started. And then I took a course as a creative entrepreneur, but with Case from In Place of War, which is an incredible organization. And this is how I started my journey as a creative entrepreneur. And then thinking about DIPACT, become cafe run and led by artists, simply creative art menus. When artists are in charge, it's just incredible creative things would happen. So we've had like when you get your food and drink, you're going to be connected with the art and the food from that, just artist background. So we did pop-ups, and we also collaborated with the cafe. And then we basically hope to open our own space as well. And basically, this is how my journey started, also as a creative entrepreneur, beside being an artist as well.
Mahboobeh, so we've been talking about how important it is for us, humanity, to make sure that we know and we feel that we are more united than we are divided.
Yes, exactly. For myself, being a human rights and especially women's rights activist, just as part of my work as a creative entrepreneur, it's really important to understand that we need more practical work, because I remember as an artist, it's really easy to talk about things or write things, or even sometimes even you do like events, one-off events, getting people together. But for me, it's all about practical works and sustaining those works, because without that, we cannot actually see the change. And when I think about always even the word change and how we can make it happen, it's all about, okay, great, I have these incredible ideas, or being a part of these things, but what steps is going to make us to feel it deeply inside of us? And it's always being the question inside of me, that how much I'm going to talk about works. For example, in my women's rights works, with kind of working with incredible women, and also knowing about the violence, just also being from Iran, just always, just the awful treatment that a woman had to go through because they are women in every part of the world. It doesn't matter. You're in the UK, you're in from Middle East, just a degree of it change. But I always thought about how do we feel that change? Because for years that I've been working, just we still got the highest number of, just the violence against women. We had to work around that. We've also now got the human rights crisis, just in the Middle East going on. All the work that we have to do to make sure that we feel the change, because it's really important to take steps, practical steps, the work that we could actually feel that change, rather than just going day by day. because just you can do a lot of campaigns, you can be like just do a lot of works, but for me it's also sometimes when I feel a little bit disappointed or be like it's very tiring, especially if just if you're an activist or doing working for campaigns. It's always have ups and downs, and always it keeps me going to know that we are united. But for me, I want to make sure that we get together. The word unity, you said it really beautifully, that we need to really get together, looking at solutions and looking at practical work, that in the world we not only see the change, but we feel the change as well.
Yeah, I love that you said that, and I completely agree. We need very simple, practical steps to sort out these issues. And there is always a solution on the table once we are honest with each other. We can't find solutions based on lies or, data that's not representative. And so, yeah, thank you for saying that.
No problem.
I'm so impressed with your plans and goals. I want everyone to go and check out DigiGem and give if they can. And what would you like our listeners to take away from your story, Mahboobeh?
I think the biggest thing I want to tell the audience is please do not give up on your ideas, because if you've got an idea, if you've got a business in mind, anything, if you're an artist, if you're a business owner, if you want to start a business, please start. Because I remember back in the day when I was started DIPACT, we just started as a meeting with some artists. So please go and do your first. All small steps gonna count. Don't give up, and know that the world need your idea. Always think about it that way, that our world need your idea. So never give up and continue your work.
Mahboobeh, thank you so much for telling your story today, for leading with your story, and for bringing about so much change.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.